Hi, this is Dustin Burrell with CIS Networking 102 class. Today we're doing a packet tracer video, which is 6.2.4.4. If you saw my last video, this is a similar video, but we're going to be configuring the IPv6 static and default routes. Pretty much the same way to do it, but different configurations and commands. So as you can see, the objectives are Part 1, examine the network and evaluate the need for static routing. Part 2, configure IPv6 static and route default routes. Part 3, verify connectivity. The background of this activity is you will configure IPv6 static and default routes. A static route is a route that is entered manually by the network administrator in order to create a route that is reliable and safe. There are 4 different static routes used in this activity, and a recursive static route, a directly attached static route, a fully specified static route, and a default route. So, looking at the topology diagram, how many networks are there? Well, basically there are 4. There are, 5 networks, and one is PC1, S1, the router 1, the router 2 to router 3, router 3 to switch 3, router 2 to switch 2. Those are our 5 right inside the PCs. How many networks are directly connected to R1? There's 2 for R1, R1 to S1, R1 to R2. For R2 there's 3, R2 to S2, R2 to R1, R2 to R3. For 3 there's R3 to S3, R3 to R2. Now the static routes, they said there was 4. I gotta look at that and figure out why. That's because this would be just one. Okay. Actually, the static routes are the same amount as the directly connected routes. There's going to be 5 also because they go along with the network. So which command is used configured IPv static routes? I'll just easily give it to you. It is IPv6 route. If you were to type that in to your command list, you would be able to pull up everything you've done. That would show your IPv static routes. If you want to get technical and just do the static routes, it's IPv6 route static. So we're going to get into configuring IPv6 static and default routes for part 2. Enable the IPv6 routing on all routers. And I want to make sure I did this right. Part 2, Step 1, which command accomplishes forwarding IPv packets? Which command accomplishes this? It is the IPv6 unicast routing, and basically it wants us to go into every single switch, every CLI, command line interface, and enter this to configure it. So get into global executive mode by doing conf-t. Do IPv6 unicast routing, and then do that for router 2. Let's see what the heck happened. Alright, IPv6 unicast routing. That's the one for router 2. Then go and do the same thing in router 3. IPv6 unicast routing. Okay, all of them have that now. And the reason we're doing that is it's going to allow the packets to be forwarded in static and default and static routes. So moving on to step 2, configure recursive static routes on R1. But we want to configure an IPv6 recursive static route to every network that is not directly connected to R1. So in order to do this effectively, we have to go back to router 1, which we're already in. We're going to stay right here. And we have to enter some certain configurations. So we're going to create our first network right here. That is going to be away from router 1, which will be from PC2 to switch 2. Actually, no, it's going to be from switch 2 to router 2, because that'll be our first network. So let's configure that so it'll be accurate. What we would do here is IPv6 route, and the way that we find the address that we're going to use here is we see this right here. That's going to be where it's going through. So that's the number we're going to use right there. IPv6 2001 DB8 colon, and then after that we need a 1 colon 2 colon /64. Enter. Invalid command somewhere. Where are you at? What's going on? IPv6 route 2001 DB8 colon 1 colon 2 colon 64. Oh well, I gotta enter the next part in too. So this is the IP address 2001, the hop address DB8 colon 1 colon and then A001 colon 2. Okay, that's one network down. And the next network we're going to create is going to be coming from router 2 to router 3, and we'll go IPv6 route 2001 DB8. And here's a little trick to get this from router 2 to router 3. So after the 8 it's colon 1 again, but then it's colon A002 colon /64. And the next address that we need to include to direct it to its destination would be DB8 1 A001 colon 2. That's our second network down, and that's from R2 to R3. Our third network is going to be from R3, which is router 3 to switch 2. No, switch 3. Sorry, to switch 3. So IPv6 route 2001 DB8 colon 1 colon 3 colon /64 2001 colon DB8 colon 1 colon A001 colon 2. Now if you're wondering where I got all these from, I'll show you. For the first network, it's right up here on my routing address table. We did this one because we were going from switch 2 to S2, so our destination had to end with A001 and then 2 at the end. And then we did router 2 to router 3, so we had to go through here and use this IPv6 address, which was A002. And then for the third network, just a sec, find out what the heck just happened here. Where were we? So that's how you get to the router 3, and then router 3 to switch 2. We used the command right back to switch 2 because it was router 3 to router 2. Okay. Sorry guys, I get a little confused on where everything's going, but eventually I figure it out. Okay, now we're going to get into configuring the next step, which is right down here. Configuring a directly attached and fully specified static route. So basically what we want to do here is go into router 2, get out of router 3. Wait a second, did I just do all that in router 3 right here? Oh boy. You know what? We need to take this all over to router 1 real quick. Oh darn. Okay. I gotta take this over to router 1 because I just did everything in router 3. So let's go to router 1. Go right here. Paste it. Go back to router 3. See, now we have a 10% out of 60% completion rate. I'm glad I caught that. And always make sure you guys are in the right router and everything. What you're gonna have to do what I'm doing right now. Go to router 1. Paste it right here. Watch this. It'll go at the 20% rate. There we go. Go back to router 3. Copy this down for network 3. And as soon as we're done doing this, we can actually move on to our next step. Man, that really just frustrated me. The stupid things we do if we don't pay attention. Okay, there we go. Now we got all 3 of those configured for R1 static routes. Now we're configuring a directly attached and fully specified static route on router 2. Configure a directly attached route from router 2 to router 1. Basically